situation over the 12 years that I've been here entertaining you on television. Welcome to Hot Topics, Sharina Hudson. Getting out of my car with my money. Good morning, Journey. She'll be almost, I think she'll be 3 next month, don't you know? Good morning, Kelvin. It's my truth.
So I'm not gonna take a lot of time because, you know, I'm getting emotional. And I told myself I wasn't gonna do this. Nobody, and I mean nobody, will ever bring the energy, the charisma, the passion, the expertise, the talent, and whatever else you want to call it, like you seen Kevin Hunter and my ex, Wendy Williams, and the team that was behind us. And I mean the whole team. That includes my current lady now. Yeah, I said it.
Sharina Hudson really seemed to have her whole life mapped out around being the side chick to Wendy's husband. This ex-mistress, ex-fiancé, and baby mama to Kevin Hunter reportedly had an entire reality show in the works, centered around the chaos and drama of being Kevin's mistress. It was supposed to launch right before Wendy's health completely fell apart, but once Wendy's show was canceled, Sharina's last major opportunity to cash in on Wendy's clout and finally make a name for herself disappeared too. I always wondered how and why Sharina was so comfortable staying a mistress for so long. But according to these new reports, it seems like the two may have been more alike than anyone realized, at least until Wendy stopped bringing in the coins.
I don't recommend that you work with your husband because I made him my manager, and then when I decided to divorce him, he had to be fired. In other words, I made him divorced and unemployed all in one day.
The common denominator between these two women was Kevin Hunter, and he has really been going through it ever since Wendy was placed under legal guardianship. His alimony check stopped coming in, and things got so difficult for Kevin that he filed a $250 million lawsuit in an attempt to get Wendy released from her guardianship, claiming that it had become increasingly difficult for him to maintain the lifestyle he was used to. Kevin was eventually forced to sell his $1.2 million home, along with several of his luxury cars. But the biggest shocker was that his supposed soulmate, best friend, lover, and forever partner, Sharina Hudson, reportedly left him high and dry. Girl, we really thought these two were going to ride together until the wheels fell off. But apparently, Sharina may have loved Wendy's money and the attention she received from being seen as Wendy's competition more than she loved Kevin. So, if these reports are true, maybe she was more attached to Wendy's lifestyle than Kevin himself. For the 16 years they were together, Sharina was reportedly living her best life without having to work, enjoying a comfortable and luxurious lifestyle largely funded by Wendy's money. Kevin bought her a house that was only 9 miles away from the home he shared with Wendy, along with a diamond engagement ring reportedly worth $80,000. And that doesn't even include the luxury cars, designer clothes, and other expensive purchases made throughout their 16-year affair. Sharina also launched multiple businesses, ranging from massage therapy services to clothing lines, but reportedly, they all eventually failed and shut down. Insiders claimed there were unpaid debts, poor management, and a pattern of Sharina expanding too quickly simply because the money was available. Each time, the businesses reportedly ended up collapsing under the pressure. So, when a divorce attorney pointed out that the amount of money Kevin spent on Sharina could be considered a wasteful dissipation of marital funds, he may have had a point. When Kevin and Sharina first got together, he reportedly promised that he would make her just as successful as Wendy and turn her into a star in her own right. The thing is, Wendy had hired Kevin as her manager, and he eventually became an executive on the Wendy Williams show. Wendy relied on him heavily behind the scenes, especially as she built her career and became known for speaking openly about other people's lives. So, from Kevin's perspective, he had helped make Wendy successful, and if he could do it for her, he probably believed doing the same thing for Sharina wouldn't be that difficult. The two reportedly explored every possible way to leverage Wendy's money, connections, and influence to turn Sharina into a recognizable name. And when the business route didn't work out, Kevin and Sharina reportedly agreed to pivot toward what was supposed to be Kevin's strongest area, television. Kevin arranged for Sharina to do an interview and was reportedly involved behind the scenes, directing the process as a way to give her some initial visibility. Once that interview generated a little traction and started getting attention in the media, Kevin reportedly went into action and began shopping the idea of a reality show around to networks where he already had relationships. The plan was for the reality show to become Sharina's redemption arc, giving her an opportunity to tell her side of the story, while Wendy had her own platform to discuss the situation however she wanted. By then, Kevin and Sharina were engaged, and their daughter, Journey, was already part of the picture. On top of that, the interview and the ever-growing controversy surrounding Sharina's life seemed to suggest that there could be an audience for the show once it finally aired. And since Wendy had built an entire career around discussing other people's personal lives, there were plenty of people who, for better or worse, wanted a front-row seat to watch her own life seemingly unravel.
Kevin had gone to LA for business. And I hired a PI. Yes, I did. I hired a PI to follow my husband. And this guy is telling me that Kevin is in Miami with the girl. This is where you show the picture of them on the beach. You know the picture where she's going to the camera and he's laying there on the cell phone like they're chilling like a couple. You understand what I'm saying? The PI was taking pictures of them going to the gym, going to dinner, her with Gucci, Poochie, and Lucci.
And even if Kevin did support Wendy and played a role in the success of her show, the truth is, he wasn't Wendy. Wendy was a star all on her own, and there was simply no way Kevin could understand the media, celebrities, and entertainment world the way she did or deliver news with the same personality and impact. Wendy had that undeniable IT factor that made her successful, and there was only so much Kevin could leverage to turn Sharina into something she simply wasn't. Sharina was probably so eager to become a star that she convinced herself the test run would impress network executives and potential viewers. But there was one thing neither Sharina nor Kevin could have planned for, and that was Wendy getting sick. Wendy was absent throughout the entire final season of The Wendy Williams Show because she was dealing with a series of serious health issues. She experienced complications related to Graves' disease, spent time at a psychiatric facility, and was later diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia in 2024. It was an overwhelming situation all around. Wendy's show was eventually canceled after weeks of uncertainty, speculation, and public discussion. It was only after she disappeared from television that many fans began realizing just how big of a void she had left behind. Wendy had been part of the media landscape for 38 years, meaning countless people had literally grown up watching her. She wasn't just another talk show host. She had become a familiar part of people's daily lives. And instead of Kevin taking a step back and simply allowing everything to unfold, he went online complaining about his alimony payments being stopped while the woman he had cheated on was fighting for her health, independence, and freedom. He reportedly sounded extremely angry and entitled, claiming, "Wendy was in rehab, and these people just stopped depositing my money cold turkey. Now I'm demanding to see all of the bank records from the time of the divorce until now. And that will show what's really going on. These people have tried to starve me out. At the end of the day, I earned that money, and I'm not letting them take it from either of us." That reportedly made the situation look even worse to many people because it created the impression that Wendy's well-being wasn't his biggest concern. To critics, it had always seemed like the money was the real priority. And folks were absolutely not here for it. One person basically summed up the sentiment by saying, "So, the plan was just to live off Wendy's alimony payment? Kevin Hunter hasn't tried to start a business or get a job. I thought he was the mastermind behind Wendy Williams' business. He is a tragedy." Another person went even harder, saying that Kevin had done everything possible to tear Wendy down and that they hoped he would never receive another penny from her. Others questioned whether Wendy had been pushed out of her show because of her mental and medical struggles, while pointing out that she still hadn't launched the podcast many people had been expecting. The criticism continued, with some arguing that Wendy not working directly affected Kevin and Sharina's ability to benefit financially from her. The overall sentiment toward both of them was extremely negative and harsh. People were basically asking, how could Kevin expect Wendy to keep paying him when she wasn't working, wasn't earning the same income anymore, was dealing with serious health problems, and was living under a restrictive guardianship? With Wendy gone from television, many people wanted Kevin and Sharina gone from the spotlight too. The reality show was reportedly shelved after major networks, including Bravo and VH1, were allegedly approached about the project but viewed the Sharina-centered concept as too toxic for their brands. Reality TV audiences were also increasingly demanding authenticity and relatability from their casts, making it difficult to imagine viewers supporting a project that could be perceived as continuing to capitalize on Wendy's struggles. And honestly, it's wild that they thought they could take Sharina's notoriety as a mistress and turn it into the kind of drama audiences would actually want to watch. Even if people didn't like Wendy, there was one thing many people disliked even more: watching someone get kicked while they're already down. And that's exactly how the show could have been perceived if it ever made it to television. Wendy had reportedly given Sharina plenty of time and opportunity to build a life of her own. She had years to turn those opportunities into something meaningful, make money, and establish herself. Yet according to these reports, things repeatedly fell apart. And Sharina already knows not to expect much sympathy because there are people who haven't forgotten how she and Kevin allegedly treated Wendy. The fact that so much money was reportedly spent and ultimately fumbled tells its own story. They were dealing with amounts of money that most people will never see in their entire lifetime, and somehow, it still wasn't enough to build something lasting. That's what makes the whole situation so unbelievable. I've always liked Wendy, and I don't think she's the liar people have tried to portray her as. Kevin and Sharina have certainly attracted plenty of criticism, and many people believe they deserve all the smoke coming their way. But what do you guys think about all of this? Sound off in the comments and make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss the next video. I'll see you in the next one.
Bye.